And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode of Rogue Actions here on YouTube. Hope everybody is doing well on this fine Monday morning. I am joined here by my esteemed co-host, Shawka. How you doing, my man?
Doing pretty good. Fighting a little bit of a sinus infection, so if I start randomly gagging, that's why, to be clear, guys. But other than that, doing pretty well. How about you, Ram?
The fact that you had to announce that's why you're gagging says a lot.
My goal is to always keep you on your toes when we first start videos. If I can distract you as much as I can when we're first starting, I've done my job.
So you're a feet guy.
What?
You said toes. I heard toes.
Oh, keep you on your toes. Oh, okay. No kink shaming, guys. No kink shaming.
And we're off the rails just like that. You wouldn't expect anything different from us.
Indeed.
You guys know the drill. 3 topics over here. I said topics this time, not videos. 3 topics over here, 3 topics over there. Links down in the description below. Like and follow both to get the full story. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of news has dropped in the past week. And there is a lot of controversial stuff going on. We're going to dive right on into it. So let's go ahead and start off with, of course, the mini meme of the week. Why do you guys do this to me? Just why?
Best meme of the year.
It's just not, there should not even be a comparison. I had no vote in this. Normally, we vote, myself and Shawka, whenever somebody puts in a meme submission through my Discord, they can submit it every single week, and we'll pick the winner out of this. Well, this week I didn't even have a vote. It's just Shawka's like, yeah, this is what's gonna win. Here you go.
Yeah, I have the veto power.
Basically, it takes an esteemed Lego minifigure of Mace Windu with his wonderful purple lightsaber. If you take the lightsaber and attach it to the hand and then remove the hand and then just chuck it out the window, you have basically a recreation of Revenge of the Sith. That's the gist of what's going on here.
Did you say a recreation?
Recreation.
Not a recreation?
Who says recreation? It's recreation.
Recreation is when you're out and having fun and doing things. You're recreating.
No, that's recreational.
Where do you think the word recreational comes from?
English is not my strong suit, okay? I was born and raised in Georgia, which is next to the state of Alabama, which was 47th in education, okay? It says a lot, all right? Leave me alone.
This explains why you like Mace. Because he's dead, just like your English language skills.
He's not dead. He's not dead. He's going to come back. Watch. Samuel Jackson will grace our screens one more time yet again. This week's winner is Bat Dad. Shout out to Bat Dad. I think this is, 3 weeks in a row now? I don't know if anybody's going to unseat Bat Dad. So shout out to Bat Dad. You are a phenomenal memer. Is that what we call it? Memer. Sounds like beaker. Memer. I don't know. Whatever. You're asking the guy that sucks at English what the English word is? I don't know.
I'm just trying to see how strange your world of words are now at this point. This has opened a whole new door for me.
Shawka, what do you think of this meme?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it's canon as well, to be clear.
It's not canon.
Absolutely canon.
It's not canon. Is it I think somebody was asking.
The only thing this needs is a yeet sound effect that goes along with the actual meme.
No.
Yes.
No. No one needs that. No one needs that. No one needs that. Somebody was asking for you to rate this meme if it is reasonable or ridiculous.
Oh, it is absolutely reasonable.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
It's totally reasonable. In fact, if I had a beyond reasonable sign, I'd hold that up. Like, recreationally reasonable?
It's recreational. Who says recreational?
It's because recreational is not a word.
It might be a word. Okay, I don't know. I haven't looked up Webster's.
Recreate is a word, and a recreation is a word, but there's no such thing as a recreational, because a recreational is not an adjective. Like that's not an adjective.
I learned English from Sweens. Okay,
that checks out.
It all checks out. All right, moving on before we just go way down the rabbit hole of my non-existent English language.
I cannot wait to hear all the comments from people yelling at us about how bad our language skills are.
And you're a teacher, which says a lot.
It's going to be like the donut versus the bagel debate. Like, which word is correct? Recreational or recreational? Well, to be clear, recreational is not a word, so let's not go down that road. Recreation or recreation? Which one is
my God. Oh, Jesus. All right, moving on. Jesus. Oh, wow. This is horrible. All righty. So, I wanted to shed some light on something that I think a lot of people saw, but it might have been missed because without this extra post, it was kind of shoved in the update notes, and I didn't see it until they put out this post. But I think this is massively, massively overdue, and it might not affect as many people now as it used to, but it's still a huge, huge thing. With this last update, CG changed the way GL tickets work in the sense that now when you do a battle and you lose, which is easy to do, as Mort has proven, as I'm sure Shawka will prove whenever he tries to do this Leia event at some point down the road, who knows when.
I've lost at times, yeah. So
now when you lose, you don't lose your tickets, which is huge, because for any of us who have PTSD from the days of GL Ray and GL Slacker, it's just awful. I think I've probably lost about, I don't know, 200 plus tickets on both of those events combined, just of itself. Now, I mean, to be fair, GLs now, they're pretty easy. This should be real.
Are easier, yes.
The events are a lot easier, right? But
like JMK is a guaranteed win on every single match.
I won't say guaranteed because Mort lost it.
On JMK?
Yes. I don't know how.
Did he forget mods? That's the only thing I can imagine.
I don't know. He went in there with the intention to lose, and he just he clicked buttons and he lost.
The intention to lose, so he was successful?
He was successful in his intention to lose, yes.
Who intends to lose a GL battle?
He wanted to prove that it could be lost.
What?
I was there for it, and I was like, there's no way you can lose this. Want to bet? Okay.
Well, this is why CG never gave us our tickets back before, guys.
Blame Mort.
Look, they're doing it. They're making content from this. It must be quality. Let's keep it in the game.
Right. I don't know. What do you think about this? I think it's huge. I think it's a great thing.
It's absolutely huge. So first of all, so when Ray and Kylo came out, so that's back when I quit the game. Part of it was because of the whole GL concept in a team being completely OP and not being beatable by an entire roster. That was part of it. But also these tickets were a large part of it too. Like the idea that you go through all of this insane amount of farming and relicking and everything else to unlock this character, and then you still can't use that character for like a whole nother month. If you're free to play and you're free to play farming all of this energy and stuff to get these tickets, it was ridiculous. And then you potentially lose those tickets if you lose a battle. Like it was the most absurd approach to game that I've ever seen in any game. And I don't get me wrong, as I don't play anything other than Swugga. I'm not a seasoned expert on like Strike Force and all that stuff, but like this was just the dumbest thing ever to exist in game. It literally not only made me quit the game back in the day, but it also it has kept me from going for GLs. So like I specifically, so maybe 6 months ago was probably about the time where I had farmed a ton of meta stuff in a row, and I was like, I just don't want to go for a GL. I'm done doing these ticket farms. I'm just done with it. And so I could have easily gone for Leia. I could have easily gone for Lord Vader. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to, because I just have no desire whatsoever to do these gel ticket farms and then just lose them in a battle when I lose. So not only does it keep people or make people quit the game, but it also keeps people from farming and investing in the GLs. So by getting rid of this, I mean, yes, there's still the actual ticket farm, which I still think is ridiculous and needs to go away, but at least now you don't lose the stuff that you've earned. And that's a huge part of the game. That's a huge mechanic in the game, which is why people hate datacrons. When you lose something that you have worked on and earned, that mechanic sucks and nobody wants it in the game, period, end of discussion. So my applaud to CG for doing this. What I would say is I hope for future reference, and they hear loud and clear how happy everybody is about this, stop doing things like this. Stop taking away things that we have invested in and achieved. Just stop it. Stop it.
Stop it?
Yes. Stop it. Stop it now.
It was absolutely frustrating. I mean, we've all experienced it where, and it's not just the ones where you lose on like the tier 1 where it only costs 15. No, you would lose on like when you're at 8 out of 9 ultimate relic mats or whatever, right? Ultimate mats. And those are 70 a piece.
Yep.
And you would lose, and you're like,
it's literally 2 weeks of work.
Yeah.
And, like, not just casual work. Like you're putting in crystals to constantly refresh energy and stuff too. Like it's a massive amount of work and time sink to
just watch it go down the drain because of sometimes just bad RNG. Sometimes, you know, with the Ray and Slacker one, they just get a bad hit on somebody and they die, and now you've lost. You just have no way of recouping it. So this is a huge change, much needed change. And Shawka, you mentioned it earlier, kind of something leaning towards maybe a massive leadership shift in recent memory with CG, because this doesn't seem like they would have done something like this years ago, but they've made a lot of really good, positive quality of life changes as of late. I'm curious as to where you think that might be coming from.
So I think, so we've seen a big shift. Obviously up front, we can see the community manager leadership change, like between Meathead versus what we had before, which it was kind of a combination of Crumb and Doja Fett, I would say, were the most recent two before him. That's one side of things. Obviously, we've seen some changes with that. Meathead is very good at engaging the community. I think he had a terrible entrance into Swugga with the way that he approached posts and stuff. He was very toxic. I think he's fixed a lot of that. He's done a lot better. But a lot of the shift that I'm referring to is actually behind the scenes stuff. I've said it before. One of the biggest complaints that I had was that this was Star Wars Galaxy of Gear back before they did the whole gear farming update and everything. And that mindset back then was that the power creep was constant, and that the only money source, the only income source they had were the whales. That was all they could get income from. So their goal was to just make everything that was new as difficult as possible to get. And they just kept baiting and switching you, trying to get those whales. What's the term? Like the fear of loss, or I can't remember what it's called. But when you've invested so much money into something that you just keep investing into it because you don't want to lose that investment, whatever that term is called, that's what their focus was. They just kept focusing on whales and getting whales to spend more and more and more and more and more. And I think they started to realize, because a lot of the whales were quitting, like they were done. People were done with that mindset. The Dolphins stopped spending because they were tired of that mindset, because they couldn't get anything. They couldn't achieve anything. What's the point of me spending money if I can't get this stuff? I'm not putting in tens of thousands of dollars into this game. So I think there was a shift when they kind of reevaluated their revenue streams and how they were going to make money from the game. And they have now realized that, you know, we don't have to bait and switch. We don't have to rely on this 1% of the population. We can instead lower the prices on these things, make things more accessible, and just start making it a more affordable approach across a wider spectrum. Yes, they still are trying to incentivize people to push and spend more money and higher amounts of money, but I think they're doing it in a much better way. They're approaching it in a much more, I'll say, reasonable, since we're dealing with the sign here today, a more reasonable approach to it. I know there's a lot of people that will not agree with me. There's a lot of people that think they're still very toxic and very predatory, but I think they have made a lot of good changes, in my opinion. I for one welcome it. I think it's been pretty good overall from their revenue creation aspect of things. There are still a lot of complaints I have with the game, to be clear, but I think the approach that they have kind of adopted is much better than it used to be. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to take into consideration the fact that it's a mobile game, right? Mobile games are designed by this way to milk as much money as they can. That's just by design. If you don't like it, don't play it. It's no different than playing Call of Duty or something like that, where they milk you by getting a whole bunch of different skins and all kinds of stuff. It's the way gaming is, unfortunately, now. But no, they have made a vast number of positive changes, and as much as I like to give them crap, I can't give them crap on some of these changes, because they make sense, and they are something that we should have had for a while, or from the very beginning. So
right.
Let us know down in the comments below what you guys think about this. Does this affect you? Has this change reaffirmed your decision maybe to now go after more GLs because you don't have that risk of losing tickets? Or does it not bother you? Do you not care? You were just gonna spend the 8,000 crystals it took to get GL unlocked day one? Let us know. All right, so the next up, we've talked about it for the last couple episodes or so, and we've kind of this is slowly leaked information, slowly dripped information about Baylan Skull. Well, now he is finally in the game. We have his event. He is playable. And I don't know how I feel about him. I love the character itself. Ray Stevenson, rest in peace. Phenomenal actor. And I really wanted to see Baylan Skull in the game. And then we got his kit reveal, and I could see some very positive things there, that he was going to do some very powerful stuff. And of course, he's Grand Arena, so we don't have him in Grand Arena. So I'll preface that by, we have not seen Grand Arena gameplay. We will not see Grand Arena gameplay till next week. So we don't know exactly what he's capable of. However, there are several things that I have issues with. Number one, he has a datacron. We have already talked about this multiple times. I hate that. I hate that idea that he has a datacron that is unique to him, and you can only get it the first time up. It'd be different if it was like every time or something, maybe whatever, cool. No, it's only for the absolute top of the whales that get him right now. I have an issue with that. Number two, his event is completely lackluster. For something that was as hyped up as Baylan Skull, and especially with the passing of Ray Stevenson and how much of a fan favorite that he is, you could have so much stuff to pull from. You could have done several different phases for an epic confrontation like the gas event. You could have done a whole bunch of different things. You didn't. It's one phase. There's not even any audio dialogue or anything. It's just your normal basic stuff. Lackluster. And then finally, I'm gonna say, based on footage, and again, have not seen Grand Arena footage. We will not see Grand Arenas. But aside from that, I'm going to say that out of the 3 epic confrontation characters, I say 3 because technically there's 4, I'm not including Malik, because Malik is a plug-and-play character. He does not require a full team to go with him. You can put him in literally any team, and he functions the same because of his ability as a tank. So I'm talking about Gas, Okatan, and Baylan. I'm going to say Baylan is the bottom of the list right now of those 3. Shawka, what are your thoughts?
So
break it down for me.
There's a lot of layers to this.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think a lot of people were blindsided by this because of how much they like Baylan. I think let's be honest here. I think people were expecting this to be a GL level character in 3v3 in particular. 5v5, I think people didn't expect it to be quite as good, but I think people thought this was going to be a 3v3 GL, and he's not. At least, again, not that we can see right now. I think he is more probably with what we've kind of scienced from reading his kit and kind of figuring what's going to happen with him. He's probably more along the lines of like a Malgus or a Malicos, maybe to some degree a Star Killer. I would say he's a little bit above Star Killer probably. But in either case, he's a team that's going to do well offensively in GAC, but will just be probably okay on defense. Malicos clearly is pretty much strongly like an offensive team. Starkiller strongly an offensive team. They can work on defense. Malgus was a defensive team and has kind of shifted to more of an offensive team now. I could see the same thing happening here with Baylan, where he maybe some people put him on defense and just be like, good luck figuring him out. But I think he's primarily going to be offensive just because he is susceptible to turn meter based teams. But I don't think that Baylan and where he's at is the problem. I'll put it that way. In terms of epic confrontations, yes. So our only comparable right now recently is Bo. I feel like we cannot compare him to Malik and Gas, because Malik and Gas, even though yes they were epic confrontations, that was a different era in Slugga. Omicrons didn't exist. It's like trying to compare some of these characters to Cat, like Conquest characters to Cat. Like they're just not the same anymore. They have tried to diversify characters' usability in different game modes. So he's simply not going to be at the same level as in terms of utility as a Gas or Malik. With that being said, I do think he's lackluster a bit compared to Bo. But again, I think that's hard to quantitate yet until we see him actually in GAC. Bo, the reason Bo seemed so good compared to him is because Bo was an absolute hard counter to Lord Vader in pretty much any and all game mode. So immediately she beat a GL. Baylan, I mean, you could argue he could beat a JML, but I know that's not saying much, but still, like, he's still at a very similar power level, in my opinion. But here's my issue, Ram. I think he's underwhelming compared to what people thought because they were super excited for him as a character, and they expected more than they probably should have. The bigger problem here. So Baylan is this epic confrontation, has a ton of requirements. You've had to invest a ton to get him. You're going to get a Datacron. It's probably going to make him super OP. Yeah, that's great. But they also just recently released a marquee character that is on the same level, if not better. That's the problem. They released Great Mothers with this Datacron. She's a single character. I know, you can argue you need to have Morgan Elsbeth with her too. I get that. So two characters. But that team, the power creep on that team was so insane that it makes Baylan not look that good. My issue is really with the Great Mothers and the Great Mother Kron in particular. That team was too powerful. That Kron was too powerful, and it set Baylan up for failure because now people are like, if a marquee character is beating all of the GLs in GAC and TW for the most part, well, Baylan's going to be the best thing in the world, right? Well, no, guys, he's not, because that's not really where he should be at. But Great Mother was way better than she should have been. So I actually don't blame Baylan so much. I blame CG's power creep. And this is where one of my complaints is with CG. They don't understand the mechanics of their game right now. They are not testing stuff. They do not understand how things are interacting. They're putting out content that they aren't testing. They aren't doing it with fidelity. That's a word we love in education, guys. They aren't doing these things with fidelity. They're just making stuff and they're just popping it out and saying, all right, move on into the next thing. And it's problematic. It is causing a lot of problems, and they need to fix how well they are testing things and how the interactions are working in a correct manner. We're going to talk more about some of that later on, but Yeah, I don't think this is actually a Baylan issue. I think this is other stuff in the game issue for me personally.
Okay. So going back to something that you kind of said earlier, I have a problem with the fact that you are saying that he's on a same level as Malgus, as Malicos, as someone like that, right? And the reason why is because those characters, as powerful as they are and as impactful as they are, and they are amazing, they are conquest characters. And if you play your cards right, you are able to get them essentially for free. You have little to no investment to them, essentially, right? I mean, what, $10 maybe, give or take. But even then, if you buy the shards out of you don't need the pass. And so conquest, as long as you red box and you buy the shards out of there, you're still going to be able to unlock them day one. So comparing an epic confrontation that required 4 marquees and 1, Grand Admiral Thrawn at Relic 7, requiring that amount of investment, and his impact is, well, he's on the same level as Malicos and Malgus. That's an issue, right? He should be above a level in my mind. He should be able to, okay, if Malgus and Malicos are able to smash Rey and a couple other GLs each, then Baylan should be able to smash one more GL than all those.
So here's my question: how many GLs can Bo beat?
Very good question. I don't know, because I barely use her, because I did not have her. I did not have her before my hiatus, and then I have her, but I never really got accustomed to knowing how to use her. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see who all in the comments can tell me who she can beat, because I genuinely just do not know, and I have not done my research. She kind of sits in my roster, and at this point I should probably just put her on defense and let someone else figure it out.
So, like, she crushes Lord Vader. I believe she can beat JMK under certain circumstances. I think that was largely by the Datacron, though. I don't think that's so much outside of the Datacron. I could be wrong on that. But Baylan is able to beat Slicker. I know Slicker's not a good defensive GL. He's able to beat GML. I know that's not a great defensive GL. But that's 2 GLs that he's beating.
Sure, but okay.
Same thing. Like, it... And the other thing is, too, so those conquest characters, I know that they're conquest and not epic confrontations, but Malicos required all fairly brand new characters at the time for that Seer team. Seer was brand new. Cal Kestis was pretty much brand new. Fulcrum was not. Fulcrum was not new at the time. So there were 2 other characters that went along with him that were pretty new. Malgus required a legendary character and all of his requirements. So they're not just a conquest character. It's not like it's Cat that could kind of go and plug and play in many, many different places. Those were characters that required other characters to make that team really good. So yes, they're different levels, but at the same time, it's not like a Luthen. We're not comparing it to like a Luthen where he's plug and play. And arguably, Luthen is just as good as Baylan at this point, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on what you wanted from Baylan. Did you want him to be able to beat 6 of the 8 GLs? And if that's what people wanted, I have a bit of a problem with that, because then that really devalues GLs. Like, it's a fine line, man. It really is a very fine line between that high-powered conquest character versus an epic confrontation character at this point. I'm not even including legendaries in that equation, because legendaries really have not been a thing, I guess, outside of Jar Jar. Jar Jar is the most recent legendary, and even then, he required a crap ton of other brand new characters to make that team work. So, I don't know. Baylan, I think people just expected too much of him. He's not going to come in and beat 6 to 8 GLs. He's just not. They're not going to do that. That totally devalues the GLs.
No, and I'm not expecting him to smash all the GLs, but here's the difference, right? Let's take a look at this, right? So you said Baylan smashes Slacker, Baylan smashes JML, right? Cool, awesome. Yeah. But like you said, those are primarily used on offense. How often do you really see them on defense? Now let's take it to Bo. Bo, according to Swiggo.gg, is smashing not only Lord Vader consistently, but can smash JMK, and there's a pretty sizable matchup on that, and that's as of this past season. That's not with the Datacron, okay. Right? So JMK is getting smashed, and also Jabba is getting smashed. Now, it's low numbers on Jabba. I'm not saying she's a very consistent factor, but she is beating Jabba. Those three are some of the top 3 GLs that you see on defense. So there's my comparison, right? Baylan is smashing GLs that you don't see. So is he really smashing GLs? Versus Bo is able to smash GLs that you see regularly on defense. You're able to get your use out of them. Whereas Baylan, you're going to have to relegate him to some random team that you see, which again is another team to beat, sure, but an epic confrontation should be smashing I think a consistently placed defensive GL.
So I would say,
you see where I'm coming from?
Yes, but I would almost say this discussion has to be tabled to some degree, because we're basing this all off of non-GAC data. Like, when GAC rolls around, maybe he does beat Jabba, and then I think that changes the conversation.
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Like, because then it's 3 GLs, which is the same as Bo. So, like, I think I can see why people are upset. But I think the people just need to take the same approach as Malgus and Malicos. I know people don't like that comparison because they aren't epic confrontation characters, but the reality is, if this is an offensive character, then we're just not going to see his viability until we get into GAC. It's just the way it is. And I think he is going to be offensive. I don't see him being a defensive character at this point. So, yeah, I just think a lot of it needs to be tabled until we actually see GAC data.
So, do you think that his GACs or his GAC armies, because any testing we're seeing does have the Datacron included, obviously, because if you have Baylan, you have his Datacron. Do you think his GAC armies are going to make that much of a difference versus his Datacron?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a ton tied to his Omicrons, tons of stuff, including doubt. Doubt is a huge thing because he's putting doubt on teams immediately at the beginning of the battle. So here's why I think people are so mad. He's getting beaten right now by a bunch of turn meter driven teams, CLS, troopers, like teams that are not that great, but they're turn meter driven teams. As soon as he's in GAC, those teams can't beat him. Like, I think that's why I said I think people are putting too much value on the non-GAC testing on him right now. To quote Aaron Rodgers, even though I hate him, everyone needs to just RELAX. Just relax. Like, I don't think he's going to be as bad as people think he is. They just have seen the testing outside of GAC and they're freaking out. He's a GAC character, guys. Wait till we get to GAC.
Okay. I like that idea. Hopefully he performs a lot better in GAC because he is kind of underwhelming right now. But let us know down in the comments below. Do you think he's worth it? Are you still going to go after him? I know I'm still going to go after him. I'm not wailing on him, but I'm still super excited to get him. Just a little bit disappointed at the initial testing of him because he was a fan favorite of mine. So anyways, we're not done with the video. We're done with this video, but we're going over to Shawka's channel right now to pick up the conversation. We got some good topics over there, so you won't want to miss it. We'll see you over there. Links in the description below. Until next time, Squadron dismissed.